All right, I think it's recording. So first thing we did was we imported the files that we need to that define the hinge points for our ditches. So in this case, it's going to be the edge of pavements, the existing edge of pavements. And then now what I just did was imported, or what I'm going to do is import the geometry using this command here. So when you come here, have these options, and these tell you what feature definition it's on, and I guess it really doesn't matter, but just find your, I guess for now it doesn't matter, but just find the alignment that you're going to be working with. So then we'll do the eastbound, and but you'll make sure to, so these are all your horizontal alignments in this, with this feature definition in this GPK. But if you click on each of them, they have all the profiles that are stored in the GPK as well. But we only want the horizontal in this case. So what you're going to do is just click on the horizontal that you want, and then you'll uncheck the profile so that no profiles will come inside of your horizontal geometry. So then I'll import this. And let's see. Okay, so it came in here. So if I turn off the alignment file, it came in here, but maybe let's try the other one. Let's see. So now that we have our alignment, we'll go and we'll find out. I think this seems to be an inlet here.
Yeah.
And it looks like we have a ditch all the way here. So we can just do this one.
Yeah, let's do that one.
And then, okay. So one thing that you need, you can't forget about, is the terrain. And you're going to go to 3D design files, 3D terrain. So then once this comes in, you can set this terrain model active, and then you can actually turn this reference off, because it can get confusing when you're. But if you were to use the horizontal geometry commands, which is what we'll end up using, if you use it, then, and if we open the profile view from this horizontal geometry, or from this line, then we should be able to see the existing ground.
Okay.
Right, even though the terrain isn't showing. So what I would do in this case is we can either approximately draw this line if you want to, or we can get it straight from here and then just kind of manipulate it a little bit and then complex it. So it's really up to you. I guess I'll just, let's see.
I think it depends on, like, if it's really long and it's already traced, then we can just copy it, right? But in this case, it would just be easier to trace it.
Yeah, yeah, I think so. I think we can pretty much just turn this off and kind of just eyeball it.
Mm.
So if you come to here, this is the feature definitions dialog toggle bar. So if you click this, then this will come up. And what this does is basically sets your feature definitions. So you can pick whatever you want. In this case, I'll just do, let's see, I'll go to linear, and then I'm going to do roadway, and I'm just going to pick edge of pavement for now. And if you click this little light bulb, then the next line that you draw is going to be on that same feature definition. So if we're in our horizontal geometry, then I'll use this line between points, and we can come here. And if you're on the eSig workspace, then you will be able to see or have all these feature definitions, and then you will be able to see the resources.
Okay.
So now, yeah, I don't know why this line isn't a smart line. So if you have like a line, like a normal line, but you see how this one is a smart line.
Yeah.
You can make it smart by using the general geometry and then create silver roll feature. So if you click on that, and now it's smart.
Okay.
So I'm gonna go into the profile views, and then I'll set these active. So I'll just click on the existing ground and set active profile. Same thing for the other side.
They're both in the same one?
What was that?
Can you only activate one at a time or both?
So these alignments are independent. So this line has its own horizontal, and it can have its own profile, and this other line can have its own horizontal and its own profile.
Right. Okay.
So now we see that we have an active profile there and active profile here. So now we still haven't got to why this is here, and we're going to get to it, but the next thing I would do is come to check our templates. And here's the template library for eSig, and if you have the right workspace, then it's going to take you straight here. So just to show you again, it's going to be create template, and then I'm just going to make a new template for this ditch that we're going to have. And template, let's say so now that we have we made our new template, now we have to make the section that we want for our ditch. So I'm going to do that by right-clicking, add new component. You can do constrain, and then we're just basically just going to make a triangle. So here's going to be one of the hinges, and pick an arbitrary point, and we'll get that fixed later. I'll do close shape, and then we'll pick an endpoint. So here, this is going to be your hinge. And this distance doesn't matter, or vertical. This horizontal difference or vertical difference doesn't matter when it's in the template, because what we're going to do is we're going to point control to our geometry. So this is arbitrary for now.
Okay.
So then if we click this little guy and you click on another point, then we can see the properties for it, and then we'll just say, and we can even give it a picture feature definition.
Okay.
And then for these constraints, right? They need to be whatever is the slope that you want from this side and whatever slope you want from this side. So I'm going to constrain this point at a slope, and then I'll do the same for the other constraint, but from this point. So these little crosshairs pick which point you want it to be constrained to. So then in this case I'll do a positive. And now we have the ditch template that we'll use for our ditch. And we can even put a parametric constraint here, which can which will control the slope if you wanted to, if you didn't want to have to come in this template and change it in here, we can do a parametric constraint. So I'll just do this. We'll just do, this is the force slope, so this is force slope. And we're able to give limits. So let's say if we wanted to not do 3-to-1 through route, and we wanted to transition somehow, then we can control it that way.
So we can do like 4-to-1, or change it from, so that it changes from 4-to-1 to 3-to-1, or?
Yeah, we can have some kind of transition, and so it can go from 3-to-1 to 4-to-1 and whatever station limits, and then it can go 4-to-1 from there on, and then transition back. Or it's pretty much like that's your control. Like you can control whatever slopes you want.
Okay.
With these, and I can show you how to use these. So that's pretty much all we need. So then I'll close and then I'll save.
No, I think so. Trey, Picture's asking if we need 4-to-1. Do we make a copy of that template, or do we use the same one?
We can just make the default 4-to-1. That would be fine actually. So
Okay.
I'll just change it. Then it's fine.
And then where would you add that transition so that it, let's say we need a ditch that starts at 4-to-1 and then increases to 3-to-1 as it gets to the inlet?
Yeah, I can show you how to do that.
Okay.
But it needs some kind of default value.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you wouldn't need to. You wouldn't need to copy this and change just to change the slope. It can all be done in one template.
Okay.
Which is the way you want to do it, because you don't want to make different templates for different slope types or slopes. So now in this case we have our hinge here, and this is where I'm going to apply the template. So I'll click and hover, and then I'll use linear template. Apply linear template, and we'll use the one that we just created. So I just left click, and then I'm gonna left click again. It's gonna give me this pop up, right?
Yeah.
So you can pick the station range, or you can just lock to the end.
Okay.
You can all do that. And then it's going to ask you to pick which side you want. So in this case, I think I want it to be this side. So now you see that we have our little section, but it's not following our other hinge, right? It's just, if we look at the typical section, the dynamic cross sections, you can click on the linear template and then go to the second little icon, and then come to open cross section model. Pick another view, click inside the view, and then we can see the dynamic cross sections.
Okay.
So I like to make sure it's center on current offsets. So it's not going to move every time you, like if you zoom in, then it's not going to move,
Okay.
zoom out every time. So, but if you see our hinge is over here, actually, you can see it.
Yeah.
So what we want to do, and to make this work, we're going to need the point control. So we're going to say, I want this point in my template to go wherever this alignment is, horizontally and vertically. So then how I'm going to do that is I'll just click on my template, come to the hammer, and do point control. And you can also get there just by clicking this.
Okay.
1, 2. So then I'll check the prompt, and this is, I want it from the start, I want it from the beginning, and I'll just say, you give it whatever name you want. So I'll just say R hinge, it's fine. And the mode is going to be both, because we want it to be controlled. We want our point to be controlled horizontally and vertically. And then we'll make sure it's on a feature definition, the control type. And then we'll pick the point from the template that we want to control,
Okay.
which is going to be the hinge 2. And we just need to make sure that this range, that our template or our range reaches the element that we want to look for, right? So in this case, we can probably just look for, we can try 25, and if it doesn't work, then we can just extend it a little bit. So then I'm going to click through. Left clicking all these. But if you see nothing happen, right?
Yeah.
But so what you need to do after you do the point control is you need to click on your corridor, and you need to add our second hinge as a corridor reference. Right, so you can either come here, it's actually here, add corridor reference. So if we click on this and we right click, then now you see that we have our ditch.
Okay.
And right, but still we haven't gotten to why this thing is here. So, but now, I guess we can get to that. But now, what I would do is check to make sure that the ditch is being controlled throughout the entire alignment, and it looks like it does. So now, what we're going to do is we're going to come into this profile view, and we'll select the view. Right, but so what I'm going to show you now is pretty advanced, and it's pretty cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to project this ditch profile onto our profile view here. So how to do that is we'll come to vertical geometry, we'll come to project profile to element, and we'll give it a element template, and I like to just match the whatever the point is, so we'll just use grade ditch or grade ditch line, I think we'll want to use. So we'll pick one, give it a name, 1, whatever. So then I'm just going to follow the prompt. So it's going to say select element to project. So then it's going to be our ditch line, our ditch flow line. And then we're going to project it onto our eastbound main lanes. So now we can see that this is our ditch here. And that makes sense, right? Because we're approaching this bridge, and then the ditch just stops right where the bridge is. So, but now, so we do have our profile from the template, right? And we have it projected here, and we also have the horizontal alignment of the ditch. But one thing to keep in mind is let's see. So one thing to keep in mind is we're gonna create the proposed horizontal and vertical geometry of this ditch that was just spit out by this template, right? And in order to satisfy our slopes, we need to make sure to be to the right of this, or in this case below this horizontal line, and we need to make sure that we're a little bit above this line in order for our slope, whatever slopes of the template, to be satisfied. Because if not, if we're closer this way, then we're going to be steeper, and if we're lower this way, then we're going to be steeper. So just keep that in mind. And if you're going through this and it doesn't make sense for some reason, then just let me know and we can walk through it.
So this profile that the program spit out, is that using your template, so using 4:1 or no?
Yeah, it is. It is.
It is?
It's going 4:1 from this. It's picking the 4:1 from this alignment vertically, and this other hinge. So it knows the distance between, it knows the horizontal distance between each line, and it knows the vertical difference. So it's able to solve. It's able to solve this slope and find out where that would need to be. So the next thing that I would do to create our proposed ditch alignment is we need to know where the inlet's going to be, and we need to know the elevation of the inlet. So let me turn on the other. Wow. Let's see where it is. Yeah, okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
It makes sense that it's going to be all the way over here. So, so we can just start our proposed or end it here and then go all the way this way. So that's what I'm going to do.
Well, I think we need to drain it from the left as well into the inlet.
Yeah, just come this way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make that a low point.
Okay, so now that we know this is the location of our inlet, then we can come back to our profile and now we can find out what our elevation is to be. And the way we're going to do this is, so we're actually not going to be able to see it here. But the way I would get this elevation just from the terrain would be maybe just to cut like a cross section here. And then see what the terrain, how the terrain is, and then we can get a number and then go one foot below and check to see how that works. So if we just change our feature definition to but so if we just use the horizontal geometry, then we can make a little cross section here, and so we can kind of see what the elevation of this inlet is. So I just drew a line, and then I'll open the profile of that. So now we can kind of see that this is probably where it is.
Yeah. So we can verify that by clicking on vertical geometry. Then we can just click line between points. And then if you have the symbol I could draw on, which is, you can get it from Tools, Symbol I could draw, activate symbol. If you click on this, and you have this Z on, then we can see the station and elevation along this column. So we can probably say maybe this is yeah, that looks like the inlet.
So then what is, you can also do a measure command to see the station and elevation when you're in a profile view and in a cross-section view actually. So if we come here, we know that this is our inlet location, so we just write this down. 37, 34, 25. So this is the inlet elevation that we want to hit. We actually want to be 1 foot below. Is that right?
It depends on the ditch, but yeah, most likely.
So we'll just go 1 foot below for now, and then we'll go from there. So now what I'm going to do is, now I'm in the, I'm back in the eastbound main lanes, which is here, and this is where we're going to draw our profiles. So now I'm going to go to vertical geometry, and I'm going to click on line between points. And really, this is the only command that you're going to need when you're creating profiles. It's going to be this one, and then it's going to be complex by elements whenever you make it one profile.
Okay.
So in this case, it looks like somewhere here. So I'll say 6, 15, 28 is where the inlet is. So if I have symbol I could draw, then I can key that station in. So 6. And then I'll hit tab to make that lock in. Then I'll type this, the elevation that we 1 foot below that elevation. And then now we can make sure to click, and then now we can draw a profile. And maybe we just go, I'm thinking, so just to reiterate, we want to be a little bit above this line.
Yeah.
Green line. So maybe I'll just have like a PI here, and then we'll flatten it out.
Yeah.
Okay. So to do this, I would make sure to have the chain on. The chain, and what this does is it allows the command to continue after I press the after I exit the command, or after I do the command once. So I'll just come in here and just pick the location where I want my profile to be, And then I'll come here to the end, somewhere over here. And so now we have our profile, then we can make adjustments here. So if we want it to be actually, let's push it back more just so we can get some more depth here. So I'll go 325, yeah. And then we can change this grade to 29. And then we'll make sure that the end of our profile ends at the end of our ditch. So maybe we'll do, yeah, we can just round this up. Maybe we'll just do 4. This should be fine. So now we have our profile. So now we can come back and do this little piece here. So we can make another segment here. And what I would do is start at this point, start at the inlet elevation, and then come back this way. So we can pick a, so we can give this like a minimum slope, and then we'll just choose 5, and then choose whatever length this is going to be.
Okay.
And then now we can just complexes, which is profile complex by elements. Give it a name. Whatever you want your naming to be. Then we'll make sure the direction is left to right.
Okay.
And profile here. Right. So now that we have our profile, we need to create our horizontal geometry. And in this case, I'm just going to do a straight line, just all the way.
Yeah, that's like
And just to, so this doesn't go on too long, but I will just, let's see. I'll start somewhere here in the middle. I'll just do. Also, I'd like to use the feature definition. If you go to drainage, and there's this view channel feature definition that I like to use. So then we can. What's actually cool is you can also, if you have civil AccuDraw, then you can key in this station and offset, and the software will know that it's referencing. Do this. Let's see. So if I key in the station, and then I go all the way to the end, and do the same thing. And then I key in an offset of, we'll just say 30. Then the software is smart enough to know that it's referencing this alignment, and you see it can, these values can be updated and changed. And this one can be changed here. So this now that we have a horizontal, you could make it in segments, make it horizontal in segments, just like we did the profile. That's probably what I would do. But try to not make too many segments close together, because yeah, it's just not really practical when you have really close changes in horizontal geometry.
Yeah.
So now that we have a horizontal, right, what we need to do is we need to give this the profile that we just created. And this is where it can kind of get confusing. So this, if you have any questions, just call me and let me know. But I'll go through it here. And the main thing that this allows us to do is it allows us to see the cross sections of our ditch dynamically with our template here. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I'm going to come to level display, and I'm going to turn off these levels in the 3D view, just because it can be kind of confusing. So now I can only see my ditch and the lines that are in this file. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to project this profile onto this ditch alignment, right? So the profile of this profile of our ditch is coming from here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to just project it onto this ditch. So to do that, we're going to use vertical geometry, project profile to element, and we'll give it a name, and then I like to use, I guess this really doesn't matter, but I just like to keep it consistent and use geometry vertical. So then you'll select your profile that you want to project, and then you'll come back and select the plan element that you want it to project to. Right. If we look at this alignment, then now it has an active profile. So if we go check this profile view, then it has our alignment that we designed. And the cool thing about this is if we make changes, let's see if I can get a view here. If we go back in our main alignment, and if we make changes to this alignment, should say this updates. So your cross sections are going to update as well, which is really cool. That's what you want to have. So now what we need to do is have our template referencing this ditch alignment. And how we're going to do that is do exactly how we did this right hinge. We're just going to add a point control. The same workflow that for the last one. And then here we'll just, and we'll make sure it's feature definition. Click the point, the flow line. We'll say we're going to be looking for the V channel and feature definition, because that's what feature definition is on. And this 25 should be fine. So we'll click through. What we need to do is, you can't forget to, let's pull up the sections. So I'm going to pull up the dynamic sections, but so we can't forget. So if you can see, this is our actual horizontal geometry that we want, or horizontal and vertical alignment that we just made. So, but we need to make sure to use the add corridor reference to the template. So we'll look at the corridor, add this ditch as a reference, and we just created our ditch alignment, and now we can see if our slopes work or not. So if we do place to, and then click on these points, turn on single light draw these things. Again, because we can here. Now we can scan through, make sure to have it this one. So now we can scan through and see our slopes and make sure that they're not, make sure that they're not exceeding our maximum slopes. So this is really the same workflow that to do for the rest of the ditches. It's really the same thing for the rest. So maybe in this case I would kind of speed in the horizontal a little bit because we're kind of missing out here.
Is there an easy way to move it? Or do you have to move it in the horizontal?
Well, in this case, maybe we just add I would just probably add a vertex here. So if you come to 7 and then go insert vertex, then we can, I think it's like around here, we can just move this a little bit right inside.
Okay.
And this can be referenced to the alignment if you wanted to, but you see how now it's inside that ditch area.
Yeah.
So I know it's a lot, especially if you haven't used the software. I think if you go and watch the videos that I've been putting on YouTube, then it'll probably help you a lot and get you to better understanding what's going on here.
Yeah. Are you gonna upload this one on YouTube?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So, I mean, if y'all have any questions, you can ask me now or later. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do.
They're not. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll try to do one ourselves, and then I'm sure we're gonna get stuck, and we'll call you.
All right, sounds good, man. Just let me know.
Yeah, if you can send us a link to the video so we can